Hello, 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 folks. It's been very, very interesting in the Ape Nation community lately. Very, very interesting. I know this has been a long, long, long battle for various people. And at a certain point, emotions can get very, very high. I myself, if I'm being completely honest, I had an emotional day. For me, it's just a lot of people. There's this infighting. It seems like you can't get away from it. Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, everything, fighting, 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 fighting. And I was there earlier today. I watched a video from both of these two people you see on the screen, Astro and Trey. And with it, I did not have a positive response. And the first thing I did, and what does this say about human psychology, is I sat down and I wanted to go on the warpath. I wanted to fight. And I thought about it and I was like, hang on. If I go and fight other people who are supportive of what the apes are trying to do, what does that do for us? Like, who's going to benefit of that if I'm fighting other apes? So the first thing I did was I called Trey and I was like, dude, what's going on? I thought we were friends. Is your video directed at me? And we are going to get into that. And throughout that conversation, it's no fact that Astro and I have been fighting. It's been very well known. And through there, we decided to all talk. And then throughout that conversation, we realized, well, hang on. Let's express what's going on. Let's kind of actually step up and show that people can have very reasonable discussions and like get stuff done here in a positive, realistic manner. So before we get into the details of that, I am well aware that there is an interest in what YouTubers make and all of that stuff. If I'm being completely transparent with you, previously when I've seen other financial YouTubers such as, I don't know, Andre Jick, Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, they do it at the end of the year. They're like, this is how much I made in the year. I was planning on doing that. If you want me to arbitrarily tell you how much I've made off of YouTube right now, I can, but then it'll just be like an awkward update video in the future. So do YouTubers make money? Yes. Do YouTubers sometimes, if in certain circumstances, make a considerable, literally life-changing amount of money? Yes. I'm not trying to hide from it. There are various websites that track all of your super chats. Right now, it's Playboard. Mine is currently over 500,000, but that's not all of YouTube. I will be making a video expressing all of that. Other things I've seen personally about me. Have I promoted Webull in the past? Yes. I'm going to be completely honest. I was a trader. I didn't know anything about market structure. I'm not infallible. I just didn't know about it. When I learned about what was going on with payment for order flow, that's when I switched over. Like I hope that everyone knows I am trying to highlight how bad off-exchange trading is. And that's just one example. I don't want to go too much into like this. I'm just trying to get out there that the three of us, and I hope I could speak for them when saying this, is we see that there's a lot going on, and maybe this is good, maybe this isn't, but we're just trying to show that people, especially Asher and myself, who have clearly been fighting, if we can be adult enough to have a reasonable conversation in an attempt to see eye to eye, a type of a fireside thing, we're just trying something, folks. I believe Einstein has defined it as the definition of insanity is when you do the same thing over and over again and you look for a different result. Well, we've been doing the same thing and people are fighting. It seems to pick up on the weekend. Maybe this is going to work. Maybe it isn't. But we're at least trying to move the needle in the right way and realize who our true allies are and who our enemies are. So that all being said, I will be posting a video later about how much money I make. It is a considerable amount. I actually wear it as a badge of honor because to me, it's how much value have you provided, how much entertainment you've provided, but that's a different video. So in this one, we're going to be talking about various things, and I'm going to start off with Astro. Might as well go alphabetical here. You and I have not been seeing eye to eye. We've been fighting. We both identify as apes. Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of miscommunication and misinterpretation and just gaps that are inherent in that absence of both sides. And it's something that I've seen a lot on Twitter, especially. People talk a lot of times about how anywhere you go to have a public forum for discussion about things, it seems very petrifying. You know, you might have an idea, you might have a question, and there's a lot of emotions in all of this, and so the responses that are given follow suit. And when you start to recognize the vacuum that's created when people start trying to avoid conflict, that creates room for misinterpretation and noise. And yeah, I've anybody from my channel knows that I've had my my fair share of banter about you. And you were the guy that I first started watching to get into all this, which is something that I overlooked way back when. You gave me a platform where I didn't have to feel that feeling of petrification, where I felt like I had a place that I could ask questions and not be afraid of sounding naive or uninformed. And that's what all this entails. We're just trying to learn, and you're totally fine to have differences. I mean, it's very clear what's going on here. I don't think anybody expected this until 2022 probably, but it's like you can still listen to the other side and respect them for what they have to say. And if you get something right once, you're not a god. And if you get something wrong once, you're not erroneous forever. And I think that collectively we're all starting to realize repetitions in all of this, and we're getting frustrated. So I'm glad that we're able to talk. Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of people are estranged to in all of this.
Yeah. So
thank you for having me here.
No, happy to. Where do you think our disconnection on an interpersonal basis started? What do you think the event was?
There was some confusion about some of the videos that I had been making, where a few people brought to my attention some similarities to a Fallout video that you had. And because of my lack of verification and obviously a bias at the time, I skipped. I just instantly assumed the worst. And I think that that was 110% my fault. And to circle back and make a callback to what I said earlier about the gaps in not addressing things is that vacuum creates opportunity for confusion and misleading of narrative, intentional or not. And that's exactly what happens, yeah. And I think we're breaking out of the cycle, at this level where we can talk about it now and, settle things gentlemanly.
Yeah. And first of all, I really respect that. And just to echo it, I think it's just a function of being human. I myself this year have done that, where I was told someone who's definitely larger than me had said something negative about me, had said something negative about AMC, and I had responded to it inherently as if it were the truth. And then a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? That didn't even happen. And I think it's weird, and it's good for us to all notice this, because how many times do people just see things on the internet and they're like, oh, that has to be true. I don't want to be selfish.
I can change your opinion with a debate on the internet. You just wait.
Yeah. I mean, even this, if we're all going to put our cards on the table right now, there's another creator in this community, AMC Bigums, who's previously made a video about me that was not the most flattering. And the thing I took me by surprise was how many people just accepted it as true. Like the fact that it was on YouTube, the fact that someone said it means has to be true. Various things of like, I'm actively supporting like dark pool trading. I've made millions and millions of dollars. Folks, this is not true. There's no proof. There's nothing verified. And yes, we can nitpick it. Are we all humans at the end of the day? Do we make mistakes? Yes. I hope this little segment right here, we're attempting to show that even if you make mistakes, okay, it's a mistake. You can come back from a mistake. You got to talk, see what went wrong. Hopefully you could see eye to eye, be respectful about it. And I think that's important. I mean, I cannot lie. Astro and I, it was tense. We got on the phone, and then all of a sudden you see it from that other person's standpoint. You're like, whoa, okay. Like I see how that it all played out in your world. They see how it played out in the other person's world. And it's at least steps in the right way. So kind of going off of that, you had a video expressing, to my understanding, you always show how much you're up. Congratulations. And then from there, in the similar vein, Trey, you had a video today. And you expressed not only how much you make, which is a pretty penny. Congratulations on that. But with it, very emotional, shows how much you love the community. And there is a big assumption that when you're saying, hey, I feel like I haven't been using my platform properly. I wish I didn't help certain other people get to where they want. And if you look at Twitter, if you look at YouTube, the big assumption is like, holy shit, are Trey and Matt fighting? Did mom and dad just break up here? Is Trey calling out Matt? And let's put an end to it. Are you calling me out?
Yeah, no, let's talk. Let's lay the freaking scunion down on this this ball. When I made that statement, it was ambiguous for a reason, not because I'm calling out Matt discreetly, right? That's actually not it at all. It was ambiguous because I'm working through details of how to approach the situation. I've actually got a list. I've got a list of names of people that I'm going to connect with offline that I think are causing problems within the community. And I don't even think it's intentional, right? So this is the thing. You just talked a second ago about perspective, right? From some person's perspective, they might think what they're doing is helping the community. Nobody does things intentionally to be bad. Not most people, right? Most people feel like they have justification behind anything that they do. And I
just want to wreak havoc, baby.
Yeah, just chaos. But I feel like to bridge that gap, you just have to have these conversations that we're having right now, right? If you told me that Matt and Astro would be in the same room, I thought I'd probably have drank bleach before I saw that happen. I mean,
I just had a shot before I got on the camera. Yeah.
What are the odds of that, you know? And that's important because these guys are polar opposite personalities sitting down having a conversation. Do they have to be best friends? Fucking no, right? But can we talk about the problems at hand so that we can actually get where we're trying to go? Yes, right? That's ultimately what it is. And maybe that was a mistake on my end. I put it out with the intentions that I had, right? From my perspective, which is I'm frustrated. And as you said, right, I'm an emotional guy. I've always told people when I talk about you, Matt, that you're more intelligent than I am. And I think what I bring to the table is emotion and sort of that energy, you know what I mean? And that's sort of my strong suit to bring to the table. And with that emotion, there's downside, right? There's downside to being that sort of way. There's downside to being too overly analytical. And that's something that played out, right? People just assumed, and I can understand that.
Yeah. And with you're a great storyteller. You're very emotional, and the people resonate with that. You proudly wear your heart on your sleeve, and you should. And I think sometimes that's why people get attacked. I mean, there's so many creators out there, and it's different personalities. For me, I'm well aware. Maybe if I was more emotional, that would be beneficial. I am well aware sometimes the way I say things and the way I come off, pretentious, condescending, straight up asshole. I get it.
You're missing pompous.
Pompous. We'll add that to the list. I get it. We all have different personalities. Sometimes jokes hit, sometimes jokes don't hit. Sometimes you're coming in the middle of a rant, the middle of a conversation. Sometimes you're streaming for hours. Other times you're just getting up. There's excuses in that. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that when I've made people feel that way, it's an appropriate decision. Like, I think we all have different aspects of just the human condition that we're doing our best to handle. We're all attacked. I get it. Pretentious, asshole, condescending, things I could work on. Trey's getting attacked for sometimes being too emotional, too new to the market, and people don't like how it comes off and they don't trustworthy. I don't agree with that. Astro, you're attacked for being abrasive and not family friendly and
too good looking.
Too good looking. We'll throw that on the list. The point, and I'm so happy that we can make this happen. This literally just came up. Like, it's been an emotional ride for everyone, and it seems like every single week, every single weekend, it gets worse and worse and worse, and people are fighting. And we just realized when we were talking that, like, a mere hours ago, we did not see eye to eye. Trey and I had tension. Asher and I did not like each other. And then we at least took the opportunity to throw some cards on the table in the attempt of just realizing this energy, the fighting between us, we don't benefit off of that. Obviously, other people in very rich, well-dressed suits are the people who are going to be winning if we continue down this like dramatic bullshit high school mean girls like fighting of like, who said this, who did that, who liked this, who watched this video. It's insane. And I don't know. I very much appreciate you guys for joining this. I think it's to put yourself out there. It's not the easiest thing by any means. And I hope that other people can, I don't know, maybe we did this right. Maybe people like it. Maybe we should do more fireside chats of when people actively have issues, if they are so-called apes. Let's get it out there. Let's keep this in-house. Let's clean it up and present a united front to the rest of the world. I guess going on that, obviously I have my opinions. I think steps like this are good, but Astro, I'd like to hear yours on Trey. As he said, he has a list of people in the Twitter sphere that he thinks are problematic, and we don't want to call them out right now. He doesn't want to. He's going to talk to them privately first, and if a public conversation ensues, okay, great. Everyone deserves that. Astro, what are your thoughts? Even if it's the basis of how you started to dislike me into the rest of the community, like where do you think things are going awry?
Yeah. So I made a couple of videos throughout the day of the inherent conflict of interest in being somebody that makes videos about this. You can't get around it. The performance that I get as a YouTuber, being full-time now and have been for a couple months, is directly contingent upon that of how many views I get. And there's a very significant responsibility that all three of us and many more others that aren't a part of this currently have to wield, which is, where do you draw the line of I care about this and the information that I'm converting into a video format to be published is of legitimacy and authenticity, and what is taking advantage of people's curiosity? And I think all three of us in here do a pretty decent job at discerning between that distinction. There are plenty of bad apples out there, and it's not just in the world of finance, but unfortunately there is a considerable concentration of people who are taking advantage of content that they have not authored, that they have not researched. And it's not the ownership principle or the authorship principle. It's the fact that there is a lack of credibility in the sense that if I want to learn about something, all I got was the reciting of X, and now I don't know where to dive deeper. And as somebody who not too long ago was watching you guys regularly to figure out what's going on, like that was a huge springboard to my learning. And what's frustrated me is I felt that I got to the point where I was able enough and aware enough that I had the prerogative to help and try to assist in the research side of things and give people some education that they're yearning for. And unfortunately, a lot of the data that we all provide can be invalidated by the status quo of what YouTube is known for, which there is a lot of abuse of the privilege that we all have, right? And the fact that you have a platform that directly incentivizes viewership and clicks, it's very easy to throw in a nuance to a thumbnail or a video title that doesn't stray away from the content itself, but it changes it from marketing your content to clickbaiting. And I hate seeing this contagion that ruins the research in all of this, because it confuses people. The priority of being first instead of correct is a problem that we see worldwide, right? And it's not just on YouTube, you see it in the news. But the point in all of that is there are people who are genuinely trying to help. And by all three of us sitting down and chatting about this, it's very clear that we're trying to help. You can listen to the other side of the aisle and not take offense in things. Obviously, that's a subjective remark, but there is a way to go about this without being paranoid of someone else's intentions if they're trying to genuinely just help. And because of all the noise and the friction that has been accumulating for however long now, there has been a lot of there's tension. And I don't want that to be there, because we're all in this for the same reason, right? We all are in one way or another trying to help. And there is a huge distortion of perspective that some people, including myself, have been perceiving as argumentative. And everyone's trying to help in their own way. And whether you like AMC or GameStop, or you like both, great. I think both companies are set up to do a lot of great things. People just want to learn, whether that's at a market structure level or what is in the news. There's nothing wrong with throwing out an idea. And I've been a very contentious figure throughout all of this. And now I have a platform where I can help share what I've come across and try to help people realize you don't have to be some particular figure of some particular status quo to try and help. It's time for the salt of the earth to be able to do the things they were told that they couldn't do. You're just not a part of the club.
I appreciate it.
You're just not a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely quite a few clicks, very distinct clicks, in, out of clicks, and that fighting. I mean, I guess before I go too much into my thoughts, thank you for sharing. Trey, if you had to pinpoint one or the top couple where what keeps you up at night? What's the anxiety? What's your fear of the failure of the group? What do you want to prevent so we don't even have to consider that idea?
You know, it's funny how you worded that. What keeps you up at night? Because that's always the question I ask myself. Why can't I fall asleep at night? I'd say there's two main things, and I touched on them in my video, right? One of them is responsibility for YouTubers. Now, I'm not targeting people in this chat, right? This is just something that as YouTubers, we have to understand, and that I think some people have to kind of pick up on, right? I'm not going to name names. I'm going to talk to these people offline. But nonetheless, we have responsibility to push good information, to share solid knowledge, right? And not influence people for the worse. Really at all. I don't want to influence people's decision to do anything in particular. And that's something that I think about a lot. And that's particularly why I shared my revenue, right? People have opinions about that. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe it's a good idea. But for me, you guys can see the guilt that would weigh on me if AMC never squotes or if we never made change. And that's sort of me opening up my heart. You know, that's kind of a weenie thing to say. It's an emotional thing to do, but that's the truth. And that's one of my highest concerns. That's what keeps me up at night, is how are people going to be able to sleep at night if things don't work out because of this infighting, which is my second point, right? I do not think that there's any external factor that can stop millions of people that recognize there's a fucking problem. The only people that can stop that is the people inside themselves saying, I fucking quit. And I know for a fact, because there's people in my Discord who have done it, right? Who said, I am so close because I'm tired of this infighting. And it just makes us look goofy, you know? Like my mom was texting me the other day. And she said, Trey, how come every time I open up my Twitter and I look at what's happening, there's people screaming at each other on my timeline? And it's just like, it's like Trey's chair, or just inanimate objects that decided to make Twitter accounts after objects in my room, you know? And you just like, if my mom recognizes that, who has a surface level understanding, right, of the community, what are you seeing from the outside looking in? And I can understand where these people are coming from, right? For me, it's what we talked about earlier. People feel like they're in the right and whatever they're talking about. And there's a misrepresentation of understanding on both sides of the aspect. And I think where you bridge that gap is by simple conversation. I'm not perfect, right? That's something definitely that I have to work on. You know, it's tough sometimes. You know, I'm not going to lie. Human emotion, sometimes you don't want to admit that you're wrong. Sometimes you feel like that's a tough conversation to have with people and you avoid. I'm not going to lie. Like, people have done that. I've done that. I know that for a fact. You know, I'm human. But to bridge that gap, you have to have conversations with people so that you can understand where they're coming from. Not necessarily agree with each other, but at least so they're not taking their frustration out on you because they don't feel heard. I feel like that's what it is. Some people just don't feel heard. And we have to find a solution for that. That's really what keeps me up. I mean, I take a lot of pride in the community and what a lot of people have worked hard to build. And if it destroyed itself, I don't know, man, that'd be a pretty hard thing to watch, you know? Yeah.
I mean, it would be, I don't think words would articulate properly, like the devastation involved in that. For more of a personal point, I agree with both of you. So maybe just to add on to it a little bit, I get worried quite a bit about ideas and good sound bites that are out in the community that just don't hold water. They're just not accurate to the market. People like it, and I get it. There is a time and place for me to not, I guess, be so concerned about being technically, logically accurate. Sometimes there is that emotional appeal, but I think sometimes, in my opinion, some of these statements, we can't look at every single red bar and start beating the drum of a short ladder attack. We can't. We can't blame all of our non-green days on this idea of a dark pool. Hey, is it good stuff to look into, to understand, to get the structure, to get the functionality of what's happening there? But so many people, and this is actually where I'm in line with you, Astro, is so many people, it's easy to say, and then you slap it on a video or a Reddit post or a tweet that's just 100K tomorrow, folks. That's what we're looking at. It's lazy content. It's lazy research. And that's frustrating, especially because when you're in the position that fortunately the three of us are, people start to give you more information. And whatever you assume the insidious nature of Wall Street is and the people we're battling, whatever you assume it is, 10x it, 25x it, 100x it. The shit that I hear through the grapevine, if we're not being technically accurate, emotionally stable, and united as one community, I mean, our chances go from slim to none to like fucking none. Like, for us to have a fighting chance to be successful, not only in the individual equities we like to talk about, AMC and Jimmy, but just truly in like fixing the market. This is, folks, this is the first time in history this has ever happened because of the digital connection that we all have. We are on a tightrope that is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. We have to be very careful with the step that we put in front of us. We don't want to keep you guys for too long. The three of us very much appreciate that you guys took time of your Sunday evening with your family and friends to listen to us. We just thought, hey, let's try something different. Some of you listening right now probably hate it. You think this is stupid. Others of you might be like, hey, they're trying to do it. Like, we hope we can show that even with tension, with people fighting, sometimes you got to put your cards on the table and show that the community is bigger than interpersonal issues. We were actually discussing it. If you guys find this to be useful, whenever there's fighting, if we should just be doing these weekly, monthly, like fireside chat things to keep the issues in-house, let the three of us know, and that's something we could definitely consider. Before I cut it all off, Astro, anything else you need to get off your chest right now?
No, just like formalities aside, we've chatted before this, and there's been a lot of confusion, and if you still fucking hate me after this, I don't blame you. I'm a pretty colorful individual, especially in my wording. I do apologize for the statements made upon misconceptions. I want to make that very clear. Like, forget the professional bullshit thing entirely in stocks. Like, man to man, all three of us. Like, I'm not trying to be the cringy wannabe peace is the way. Like, it's how it's gonna. I'm not trying to be that guy. I am trying to be realistic though, and that is that just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you can't see their side of the aisle. And I think everyone is in this for the right reasons. But there's just clarification that needs to be made. It doesn't go any other way. And I think that there's a lot of brilliant people in all of this, and everybody just wants to help. And the sooner that we can move forward collectively, whether it's at this level or in space calls, like I'm over trying to fight. Like if we could all get our shit together, this shit would probably happen next month. Like, I just plain and simple. I think education is the number one thing in all of this, and I know that's my priority. And for both of you, that's at the top of your list. That's what that's what is the key to this.
Definitely agree. All right, Trey, bring us home.
I thought about this a lot. I think where people are really struggling, as I briefly touched on it earlier, is they don't know where to put their emotions, right? And I could think back on that because I've had moments like that. When my old man passed away, I took those emotions and I went and fucking gambled for a year. When I got out to Oklahoma and I didn't know what to do, I just sat in my room and isolated myself. And it's easy to let those emotions kind of dictate what you decide to do. Maybe you want to investigate what's going on with a YouTuber. Maybe you want to investigate somebody on Twitter. That's okay. You can do that, right? But I want to implore people who feel like they have value to bring to the table to try, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're putting out wrong things, right? And we have to be sort of smart about what we do, but there's really a lot of power in how many people and how many skill sets and how much diversity is in this community. I've said this so many fucking times. This is hard. Getting millions of people in the same room to agree on something such as market corruption, right? Something as simple as that is tough. You get a million people in a room and tell them to say that the fucking wall's white. There's going to be that one dick that says it's green, and we have that right here. And it's so easy to put that to good use. And that's what I want to see. I just want everybody out there who thinks they can contribute and thinks they can step up to the plate to take a chance, to give it a shot. I think there's a lot of talent out there, and I just want the best for everybody. That's all I got.
All right. I really appreciate it. I appreciate both of your time. To everyone who's tuning in right now, we appreciate your time. And hopefully the next time we have a conversation of this nature, it's going to be a little bit more jolly. But thank you, everyone. All right. We're out.